Hello, welcome to East in Paris, or for our second ministry, bonjour, bienvenue à Est à Paris. So, today it is the 19th of September, and I am back in London. And the reason for that is that, well, I guess, let's go back to the beginning. So, we've been in France for 3 weeks now, and of those 3 weeks, I've probably spent maybe a week and a half actually in France. So we moved, and then I went to Glasgow for a conference. My experience and trip of Glasgow is in one of the links, in one of the corners, of which I go, Edinburgh sucks, and Glasgow's great, which will most likely get me a load of abuse from the burgers of Edinburgh, but who cares at this stage? And then I was back for a funeral. So my grandfather died just as we were moving, and today is the Queen's funeral. Not that I was there for that. That would be an unhappy coincidence. But with, yes, the move, and then my grandfather dying and the Queen dying, my confidence in my identity has taken a huge knock. So, like, my grandfather was a proud Cornishman, and much to his dismay, I'm a proud Devonian, if you want to call it that. And then, well, the Queen just embodied Britain, embodied everything that people want her to embody, the projection of all. So after grandfather's funeral, also back for a couple of work events, which meant I've not really had time to settle. I don't feel settled, but at the same time, I don't feel like I have a home, which is a silly thing to say, considering that I have 2 homes, 2 houses, one in London, one in Paris. But I don't know, I guess, who I am, where I'm going, and why I'm doing it. When my grandfather died and when I was at his funeral, a lot of time for self-reflection, and what all these things mean, and lots of things that I have done as just in life I've done to make him proud. It sounds silly, but I did, and I know full well that he would have been proud of me. He was proud of me, but without that guiding influence, that motivation, somewhat feel lacking in purpose. And then with the passing of Her Majesty, the ties to Britain just feel weaker. And as an idealistic youth, I swore an oath of allegiance, an oath to defend her, and the crown, and etc., etc. And I would again. But I also don't know if I would for a future monarch. So there's lots of identity crises going on. And well, I'm not a cynic. My idealistic views on things are diminishing. And I guess the reason why I'm not a cynic is because cynics are bitter, and they've lost hope. And I'm not bitter. I'm not lost hope. I'm sad that I have uprooted myself, left comfort zone of everything that I know, and that everything that I know is Britain. I'm sad that the Queen's died. I'm distraught that my granddad's dead. So it's all these things which are all contributing to where I am now, which is trying to figure out where I am in the world, who I am, and what it all means to me. In a couple of days, I will be heading back to France, and I don't want to. I really don't want to, because I want everything to go back to the way it was, but I also know that is silly. I know that it's silly because life is all about progression and forward movement and never staying still. But I want it to go all the way back to where it was when life was simple, and I didn't have an identity crisis. Identity is not something which I thought I'd ever discuss so early on, because I've not spent long enough in France to feel French, and at the same time I don't feel British. I don't feel like I'm from anywhere. When my grandparents were a lot older, they started off when I knew them, when I was a boy, with very strong received pronunciation. You'd never know where they had come from, but as they got older, they started sounding more and more Cornish. And I think that was a way for them to stay more in touch with their roots. And I suspect that the longer I stay in France, or just away from home, where's home? I don't know. I'll probably end up getting a stronger Devonian or just general Southwest burr. But who knows? Well, I am back in France, and just wish I hadn't. Like, Eurostar was nice and easy, which makes a change. But got on the RER, sat down, seat was damp. Could be piss, could be beer. Hoping it's beer, most likely piss. Probably gonna have to burn my trousers. And now stuck in the middle of nowhere because the RER got cancelled part way through. So we need to find an alternative form of transport. So it's going to be a fun evening, fun morning, because it is now definitely morning, and just trying to overcome being homesick, because that is definitely what I've been experiencing the last few days. And you kind of talk about clean breaks, and should always do clean breaks. Should have done the Bye England, I'll never see you again, but I didn't, and it hurts because I just miss what I had. So I mean, that's kind of what's feeding into the identity crisis. There's a English comedian called Paul Taylor, linked to some of his videos up here, and in one of his most recent performances is all about identity. So he's an English comedian in France, does comedy in English and French, and he's very funny, but his latest thing is all about identity. And he's much further along his identity crisis than I am. I think I'm only at the beginning, but that is where we're heading. I'm not as funny as he is. Don't even think I'll ever be even remotely as funny. But that is pretty much where I am at the moment. C'est la vie. Alright, just in case you're all getting worried, I have made it back safely. It is very early.